Hello everyone, today is April 12th, and on this day in 1861, Confederate forces fired on Federal troops at Fort Sumter, South Carolina, effectively starting the Civil War. When South Carolina seceded a few months earlier, they had demanded that the fort be turned over to the state, however Union officials had so far refused. So at 4:30 a.m. on the 12th, they opened fire with artillery and didn't stop for 33 hours, firing nearly 4,000 shells at the fort. Eventually the garrison inside surrendered, but ironically no one was killed in the opening battle of what would become America's bloodiest war. In 1892, voters in Lockport, New York became the first ever to use voting machines. A recent comparison with today's machines showed that despite 120 years of advances in technology, the old machines were actually much more accurate. In 1945, President Franklin Roosevelt passed away at the age of 63 while relaxing at his retreat at Warm Springs, Georgia. He was the only president to serve more than 2 terms, having won election to his 4th term just a few months earlier. In 1961, Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first human to travel into space. He also became the first to orbit the planet, which he did aboard his spacecraft Vostok 1 in about 89 minutes. And in typical Soviet fashion, the only statement attributed to Gagarin during his time in space was, "Flight is proceeding normally, I am well." And on Good Friday, 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was arrested in Birmingham, Alabama after violating an anti-protest injunction. It was during this time that King penned the Letter from Birmingham Jail, where he wrote that it was his duty to fight against unjust laws, saying, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." And finally, in 1981, the Space Shuttle Columbia is launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida, becoming the first reusable manned spacecraft to travel into space. Columbia spent 54 hours in flight for a total of 36 orbits before successfully touching down in California. Well, that's it for today, but be sure to stop by tomorrow for more on this day in history.